wonderful unified view that media buyers have wanted so badly for so long now. And we've got Koenraad Deridder, who's the general manager at SIM here in Belgium, so we can talk about the local vision and implementation here. And also Martyn Bentley, who's the commercial director in the UK for AudienceProject, who are a cross-media measurement supplier, like a measurement provider, working with some JICs already and with some of the major brands and media agencies. So we've got a good view of both sides here. So Koenraad, let's start with you and your vision for cross-media measurement here in Belgium and SIM1. I mean, just give us a sort of high-level view of that vision, and also in terms of implementation, what are the big next steps for you?
So yes, SIM1 in fact is all about becoming consumer-centric. And in fact, that came about because of the evolution in the market. Becoming consumer-centric, becoming cross-media. All our main media groups in Belgium are really cross-media, even independent, so far independent publisher like IPM, for example, has news brands, but also TV and radio. And of course, there is the question by the agencies that really want full funnel insights. Certainly, we now know from the WFA, the World Federation of Advertisers, that an average ad campaign has at least 9 touch points. So, and those touch points are becoming more and more dynamic. Yeah? So, TV, for example, is not only used for branding, it's also used for performance. It's Bodism, like DPG tries to sell that right now. So that's the aim, becoming consumer-centric, really having those cross-media insights. And for this, we are creating the SIM1. And the SIM1 means that we will integrate all our existing studies in one research framework, the SIM1, that will be hybrid. So we will combine different data sources, panel data from different panels, big data from all kinds of sources, and it will be modular. So it will have 5 modules. I will not explain them all in detail. The main ones are in fact the one panel, which means that we're going to combine the TV panel with a smartphone panel to be able to measure with the same people as much media usage as possible. And so really create those cross-media insights with those people. The other part is that we're going to report everything towards one end database, which is a virtual population, which means that for every Belgian, we will try to have a virtual Belgian, 11 million, 12 million virtual Belgians with the full description of their social demographic profile, but also their media usage and also their consumer consumption profile. And that end database should allow to make all those cross-media analysis and also to predict consumer journeys by the agencies or the advertisers.
Okay, and what's the timeline? I mean, when would you like to bring out a viable minimum product that at least gives us cross-video measurement, including sort of, Meta, Google, etc.?
Well, it has been a while that we have been working on that. So we now already have some new measurement systems in place. So we're installing the digital meter in the TV panel, which makes it possible to not only measure classical TV, but really all kinds of digital media usage. And we have finalized the Flemish Dutch-speaking cross-media panel, so the smartphone panel. And so we have now commissioned also the French-speaking panel. So the measurement solutions should all be in place by the mid of 2026. And then we can start reporting. We will first report in the 3rd quarter of 2026 the full, what we call the other screen usage. So all the TV usage that we do not know right now, like the international platforms, for example, but all kinds of other screen usage. And then we'll start with the new currencies that will include not only the viewing at home, but also out-of-home viewing on all kinds of small screens and so on from the 1st of January 27. But I should add there that, of course, for where we already have the digital meter in the TV panel, and for the Dutch-speaking part, we are already having those data sets. They are coming in right now, so we already see that we can measure a lot more than in the past. So in the past, we measured 120 TV channels. Now we already measure 3,800 different platforms, which is, of course, a completely different thing. And we see that of course within those 30% of other screen users on the big TV, that we didn't know what that viewing was, that it's 2/3 is indeed video on demand, like you might expect YouTube and Netflix and so on, but 1/3 is viewing that we may not expect. So it's really niche platforms, like for example Crunchyroll. There are fans of Jeroen Meus cooking, for example, that we see appear. It's also a lot of illegal viewing, ethnic viewing, and gaming, for example. We measured gaming so far, we always measured it, the gaming console we could see, and that was not a big volume. But now that we see that we also can measure the gaming apps, like Steam or Nintendo Plus and so on, we see that people really use their big TV set at home for gaming as well.
Okay, and Martyn, you're doing cross-media measurement across Europe, really. Certainly Germany, Nordics, and UK are your big markets. I mean, just explain what you enable, and also, after that, tell us about what you're doing in France with Médiamétrie.
Okay, yeah, thanks for having me, by the way. It's really nice to be here, sort of representing the UK. I don't know how well known AudienceProject is in Belgium, but I think I heard our name in the previous panel. So the brief description is we're a media measurement and technology company. So we build panels in the markets we're active in, and then we use our technology and also the integrations we've built with a lot of the really big streamers and the key platforms in order to then help our customers, which could be brands, agencies, and the sell side, or even the chicks, if you like, to understand the reach profile and frequency of the campaigns are running cross-media.
And you cover linear TV, YouTube, all the major SVODs, Meta,
yeah,
CTV, online video, pretty much everything.
Keep talking, John.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't measure TV ourselves, so we'll normally work with the local TV JIC. So in the UK it's Barb, so they measure TV, they do a great job, so we just create a system in kind of concert with the currency or the JIC to make sure that then the deduplication is up to standard.
So how are Médiamétrie going to use you?
Yeah, it's a little bit like what Koenraad was saying, actually. So the synthetic population is, or the virtual people model, is central to how we've built our technology or deduplication engine. So we're kind of working with the JIC in France as being kind of the supplier really that can help the non-typical, the non-traditional media plug in, and it will sit within our synthetic population. So the work that's going on right now with Médiamétrie is to calibrate that and bring the two different data sets together, and then we'll be able to do the cross-media measurement using one synthetic population to power the whole system.
And Koenraad, I mean, in the UK, obviously Origin, they have Google and Meta in, but the broadcasters are outside. They don't like the metric for reach. Here, you've got all the broadcasters on board for Sim1, but you still need to get Google and Meta in later. How do you think, do you think you'll need a compromise on your unit of reach in order to get them on board?
Well, to get them on board, that's what I'm sitting here next to Martyn. He is one of the people that can be the solution to that. I think in the Belgian market, we are too small to ask the big platforms to adapt completely their way of working and completely their systems to be for our market, to be measured in our market. So we have to find an international solution. You talked about Origin, that's the Hello project of the World Federation of Advertisers. That's a project we are very much involved in, thanks to our local Advertisers Association, the UBA, who's a very well-respected local team in WFA. So we are in all the work groups, in the summits. We are also in the high-tech technical group with the Google and the Meta engineers. So Michael, our research director, is a part of. So we're very close to that project. But we already see there, and luckily also the WFA sees that in the end, every solution will have to be local. We made a deal between our stakeholders at STIM, so the advertisers, the agencies, and the media, that the governance of any project that would involve the international platforms should always remain local. And you now will see, even on the website of the WFA, if you go to the Hello page, you will see, in the principle is now accepted, the governance has to be local. So I think that there will not be one big WFA solution for every market. In every market, it will be different solutions. There is already a difference between the American Aquila and the British origin solution, so it's not a problem either. And so we have to think, what can that solution be? Who can we work with? I think the institutes will be the ones to create efficiency and to make it financially possible also for us in a smaller market. So that can be institutes like a GfK, like a Kantar, that offer those solutions, but certainly also an AudienceProject, for example, could be a solution to work with.
Origin in the UK, they have landed on multiple options for what a unit of reach is, one of which is any impression, MRC 2 seconds, and then you can have a custom choice between different quartiles. As I understand it, you're hoping that your basic unit of reach will be a 50% completion. I mean, is it realistic that you'll get those digital platforms on board if you stick with that? Because I know Origin have tried very hard to get compromise and they just can't, and Barb won't get involved without an MRC 2 seconds standard measurement unit.
Yeah, indeed. So in Belgium, the standards is indeed 50% seen. Well, if I understand it well, the WFA has introduced or will introduce a quartile, so we'll be able to calculate the 50%. So for us, that would be okay. You already see that the solution is working without one standard. So Meta and Google already do not agree about one standard. So that's why it is quite open standards. The basic thing is that we have to be able to measure on the second level. And if you have the results by second, we can always recalculate it like we wish. So that's, I think, the way it will go. There is also another aspect to that. That's the legal aspect from the European Media Freedom Act, because we now have a European regulation that wants to regulate audience measurement. And that also foresees that the so-called codes of conduct that will regulate audience measurement will be based on the national level. So they will be different from country to country. Of course, our aim is also between the joint industry committees in Europe to have some kind of comparability, of course, that it would be efficient, that it will certainly not be an argument from the platform to say, well, no, it's too complicated in all those different markets. So we'll have common basic principles, but in every market will be slightly different given the traditions that exist in that market.
Okay, and Martyn, as you well know from the UK, we've had this long debate about whether cross-media measurement solution needs to be apples for apples, or whether apples being compared with pears is okay. Origin's view is that, let's trust the media buyers. We'll give them the data. They will know that some reach is different to other reach, so media has different values. And I believe you probably take the same approach at AudienceProject?
Yeah, we kind of believe in the local governance to a certain extent, because our system will measure quartiles, it will measure on impression, and we're not going to solve the kind of equivalence debate that's always going to rage amongst competitors in different, the UK is a £35 billion media market, people compete, the broadcasters compete with Google, they're going to hit each other with the equivalence stick all day long. So we can kind of do both, but in terms of what is taken to be the rules locally, we'll go normally with the TV JIC if they've decided that they have an equivalence minimum. So the UK, it's the MRC2 standard. But your customers, I've worked with the brands for a long time on our platform when I opened the market in the UK 8 years ago. The brands are not stupid, they're spending big money and they are quite capable of working out whether they think that a 1 second view on that platform is equivalent to a TV ad. And to a certain extent, I think it self-regulates, but we'll generally go with the local JIC to agree with equivalence to TV, because that's generally the approach that most of our customers are taking. They're either proving that what they sell is additive to TV and falls in the same kind of quality bucket, or they're buying with quite often still a TV first buying mentality. So, yeah.
Okay. And do you want SIM1 to become a currency, Koenraad? Or is it just a big reporting, planning and optimization tool?
Well, I think the first thing we will do now, that we will launch now, is already in January or February, will be what we call the TOVA post-buy. There has already been talked about the Total Video Advertiser Planner, which is very successful. We will also add a post-buy solution to that. And that will be a gradual thing to put in place. And there, indeed, we will try to make campaign assessments for linear TV plus all kinds of video, and we'll do that for the 5 local sales houses, the big sales houses in the market. Now, we specifically do not tell that will be the currency, because I think it's an unending. It will be a debate that is very theoretical. I think a currency is a currency when it's used for trading, and so I don't know if what we will deliver as a post-buy solution will immediately be used for trading. I guess not. If it's a good solution, it will become used for trading, and it will become a currency. And I think that's also the case for any cross-platform or cross-media currency. It will take time to become so, but gradually the traditional TV currencies will indeed be replaced by the video currencies, and I have no doubt about that. And of course, we want to still be the provider of that currency in that.
Yeah. Okay. And Martyn, in terms of the outputs that the media buyers get, so the clients, if you call them that, what are the main use cases? So when you do cross-media measurement and you help agencies, I know you work with WPP Media and Havas and Boots, major retailer in the UK, as examples. I mean, what are they looking for from you?
Yeah, it kind of almost goes through phases the longer they work with us. So what we've seen with particularly the brands or the agencies that have worked with us for a long time, the first thing is if you imagine the Venn diagram of, well, I can now see what the cumulative reach is of, I don't know, YouTube TV and Amazon Prime, rather than just buying on each one and taking individual reports from the vendors or from the platforms. So that's a eureka moment that says control to their procurement people who set the budgets. So this is good news, right? They can then, the marketers can kind of prove that they're in control, and they can then start to kind of optimize media buying, make it more efficient, and then, so the longer they, if you like, go to the gym, the more you sort of get fit and you can become more fit. And so we see it working like that. And then with the agencies, quite often it will support, in a way, a product like that they're marketing themselves. So with WPP, we support what used to be Finecast, which I think is now WPP Media Solutions ATV. It's snappy. But, that helps them to verify what they're doing. So yeah, it's really about kind of control, insight, and then optimization. And then the last piece is exploring. So what we're seeing now is, this year we've created integrations with Netflix and Disney, and there will be more next year. So these new and significant channels that can work well with TV to complement it are coming online, and the buyers need to understand how their money is working across the whole piece.
In-flight optimization always seems to be a big win for everybody. And Koenraad, you've talked about a large media model, because I know WPP Media with their open intelligence, they talk about a large marketing model, which is this foundational kind of large model that understands behaviour and demographics, etc., to improve marketing campaigns for clients. You presumably want to feed that and other agencies' versions of that. And is this all about just giving them much richer data to make their own decisions and their econometrics?
Yes, indeed. And so it's like Martyn says, partly it's marketing, of course, if WPP sells their new system as being the large marketing model, we try to be as smart as them and sell our new offer as the large media model. But it also really reflects our aim that we really want to be relevant towards those new AI-enhanced systems. And we want to indeed feed our data directly in those systems through an API. And we have the different data sets to do so. And we also have the habit to do so, because we already do that for digital out-of-home, for example, where we directly feed our data towards DSPs, and where this data is, it's called commingled with other data sets for very specific solutions, outcomes measurement, like drive to store, for example. Of course, that is not a SIM currency, but it's SIM data that is used in a very valuable way. And so that's our aim. And so, of course, we can deliver the offline data we can deliver also what we call the golden standard, the description of the universe, which is a very basic thing to have, and all those systems need that. But also on the digital space, we can be useful. We think that the agencies will measure their campaigns given the different kinds of outcomes they expect. They will measure them themselves, for example, through AudienceProject. But we can add benchmarks, offline benchmark data. We have the full view of the full market that can be useful to feed into MMM and so on. So I think there we have a very clear role. We can also add what we call qualifying factors that are agreed by the whole market because we represent the whole market. In TOVA we have an effective factor which is based on visibility. Also in out-of-home we have visibility scores that qualify the inventory. Such qualifying factors we could also do for other media. And we even have activity-based modeling. So that's very complicated. But to give you an example for digital for out-of-home in general, I must say, for every Belgium, 11 million Belgians, we predict all the trips a Belgian will make during an average week. So we predict 118 million trips Belgians will make. And that matrix is used for calculating all the billboards people will pass and to reach and calculate the reach and frequency for campaigns in out-of-home. Such a matrix, an activity-based modeling matrix, we can do also for virtual trips towards a web shop, for example. Now, our aim is not to do that ourselves. That's really something we leave to the agencies, but we want to make sure that our data is useful in that respect as well.
Now we're out of time, so we've just got one last question, and I want a 10-second answer from each of you. Are we confident that if we make media campaigns more efficient using this wonderful tools that we've got now, that the money agencies and media buyers save will be reinvested into media? They don't just take it off and give it to their CTO to build a new CRM platform.
I think if you want a short answer, they will certainly try to take the money off and increase their profits. But I think it's indeed important for us that we can really prove to the advertiser that there is a direct return in efficiency in their campaigns. And that can also be, for example, with SIM through audit and certification. There is still a lot of fraud going on. There is still a very dodgy ID graphs, for example, that only digital is a lot of make-believe and magic that still only works because it's cheap. So I think what Sophie showed about premiumness, like she called it, I think we have to go to a premiumness because local media need that to finance all those content investments, but also more and more the platforms will need that, will need more money to keep on investing in all those fabulous AIs and super intelligence systems. So I think that's very important that we can prove that direct efficiency.
Okay, Martyn, wrap us up.
Yeah, I don't think it will go away because every year the global ad spend number goes up. It's even though all of the different companies are saying we can help you be more efficient, the number goes up. So marketers are adept at getting more money because the companies want more growth. We see companies move money to what is more effective. They don't give it back to the boss.
Great stuff. Okay. Now we have a break now. Do you want to
tell? Will be an espresso because we're running 20 minutes late. So if it's possible, I know it's a risk, just let's try to start again at 16:50. So it's not 30 minutes, sorry, it's 20 minutes. Thank you very much for your